Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whichever works for you. Chemo is hard, and getting the most out of those infusions is hard in a different way. To better defend against chemo drugs, I supercharged my healthy cells using the Valter Longo protocol, and I didn't even need to take another pill or get extra injections. Since you're watching, you know chemo is hard, and getting the most out of those infusions is hard in a different way. A lot of it boils down to my mantra: food is fuel, food is medicine, food can be poison. And I believe that choosing when to or not to eat can help your body in its cancer battle. So, what is this mysterious protocol? It involves fasting for 2 days before chemo and a day after. So, it's basically a 72-hour water fast with chemo infusions mixed in. There is science behind it, but it's not well known and it's certainly not mainstream. And according to my care team, it's extremely rare for someone to even try it. They've never had a patient actually follow through with it, well, until now. In fact, they're using the word attempt to give you some idea of how tough this is, and they're not wrong. Being patient one of one to my care team means there aren't really benchmarks to measure against. So I'm measuring my round 2 experience against round 1, and that's the focus of this video. I'm also comparing how my experience stacks up against people following their normal eating routine around rounds of chemo. And there are lots of people who have lots of reports about that. Did I do better or worse? What happened? And by the way, on the hair front, I am losing quickly. And that's me at the start of chemo. So chemo 1, hair 0. Anyway, I have a video around round 1, and there's a link in the first pinned comment and a link above. But let's get into how round 2 went. Based on my round 1 experience, I changed up some things for round 2. Some things went better, some things went worse. To be clear, I am a patient sharing my personal experiences. I am not a doctor. Now, my care team, including my oncology doctor, nurse, and dietitian, have all signed off on this, and I'm following traditional chemo protocols otherwise to the letter. So I'm not freelancing. And I suggest never trying anything this far outside the mainstream without first discussing it with your care team. Since you're here, you likely already know that chemo drugs target fast-dividing cells. The theory to this whole thing is that during a longer fast, healthy cells go into a defensive mode and mostly quit dividing. Cancer cells just keep doing what they do, making them a bigger target for chemo drugs. Now, a major factor in my ability to tolerate this is that I've been on a keto diet for 1.5 years, and intermittent fasting is a part of that regime. I traditionally have 2 meals a day with no snacks in between, so simply skipping a meal once in a while turns into a 24-hour fast. Now, there are small studies that indicate this works, but they are small studies. And in my humble opinion, there just isn't any money in telling people not to eat for a few days. So Big Pharma and their friends are not likely to fund a major study about this. Anyway, for me, the benchmarks are how will I recover in the second round versus the first round, how will I recover to people in general, and did I have any unusual side effects? But here's what happened. The first 24 hours were no problem either time. Like I said, in keto, I occasionally do a 24-hour fast, so no surprises there. The second 24-hour, I was hungrier than the first time, but I just powered through that, sticking to water and tea. The last 24 hours was much harder the second time. It kind of began with the infusions, which started at 8 a.m., through breaking the fast the next morning. It was considerably and progressively harder hour by hour. Overnight after the infusions, I wasn't just hungry. It felt like my whole body was screaming out for something. But there's one thing that kept me on track. Knowing the maximum metabolic benefit was exactly in that 24 hours after treatment. So I soldiered through on determination and tenacity because to me the pain was worth the gain. And how I broke the fast the second time was totally different with a totally different outcome, which I'll cover shortly. So round 1, I had a serious case of constipation. I mean, really bad. Now, that is a possible side effect of chemo, but the thing is, the first time I ate a huge breakfast to break that fast, and I ate a whole lot more during the day. So I basically overloaded my previously empty intestinal tract, and I believe that was a huge contributor to that constipation. So for round 2, I ate a small omelet, some Greek yogurt with blueberries, and some coffee and water to break that fast. And then I snacked through the day, basically letting my system ramp up gradually rather than dumping a slug of food into an empty system. I started to feel better even as I was eating that small omelet, and I recovered energy and well-being really pretty quickly through that morning. I did stay on MiraLAX all week to ensure against a relapse, and it worked. That very painful problem did not repeat, but thankfully. The second major issue that came up the first round was that I had terrible lower back and hip pain. It hurt to move at all. And it was a different kind of back pain compared to regular muscle pain from overexertion. I felt this in my bones because, as it turns out, it was, and it hurt. We narrowed it down to an injection that I got that encourages white blood cell production. So this time, at my nurse's suggestion, I took Claritin beginning the day of treatment through the full week plus. And that worked about 80%. I still had some moderate lower back pain, but not enough to slow me down. But what about that post-infusion roller coaster-like crash that so many patients report? What they often describe seems as bad as I felt during that critical 24 hours, but they didn't get that metabolic benefit. About the 4th and 5th day after treatment, I was tired. I felt a bit run down. I still did a few things, but I did lay around a lot. The 6th day, I was back to about 80%, and by the 7th, I felt back to normal. Here's the key, the master key. You already know that nothing about this battle is easy. Hard days are a part of it. Choosing where to push the edge, where to put the hard part, and how to find some realistic advantage for me is a key to success. If the fasting part was a big roller coaster down, then the days after were more like a kiddie ride. And I chose the roller coaster, the one that I believe multiplied the metabolic benefit of doing the infusions that likely killed more cancer cells. So using a baseball comparison, round 1 was a win with some tough innings. The second round was a tough start with a few dog days in the middle, but overall much better, and I believe a win both times. But maximizing that metabolic benefit is a huge part of the game. So yep, I'm doing it again for round 3 with even more understanding of how to get through it, and I'll report back on round 3 as well. And I'd love to know how you're doing, what you're doing to beat this beast. Thanks for watching, and God bless.